I think he's already top 10 all time. I don't think it's
Yeah.
even a question.
Yeah.
He's so honest.
Yeah, so he is like a great of the game of football. And I can't bet against him, you know?
Yeah. So if the Chiefs end up winning this game, what do you think? Where do you think Mahomes stands when it comes to like all-time rankings, and like how do you think this will overall like affect his legacy and how people view him as like a top-tier quarterback?
If they win this game, Patrick Mahomes has started in the NFL for 5 years. He has hosted the AFC Championship all 5 of those years, and 3 of those years he's went to the Super Bowl. 1 of them he's won. This one is pending. So let's say they win this game. He has won 2 Super Bowls, and he's been to 3 within 5 years. And I'm assuming he's going to win the MVP this year, so that'll be 2 MVPs within 5 years. And if they win this game, he'll probably get the Super Bowl MVP. So that's 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 2 league MVPs, 2 Super Bowls in 5 years. Hosting the AFC Championship all 5 years at Arrowhead. That is, I think, unheard of in the NFL. I think if they win this game, and just the way that he beat the Bengals, like the way that he single-handedly put the Chiefs on his back.
It's not even an exaggeration. That was single-handedly.
He won them that football game on a high ankle sprain, throwing for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think you almost got to put him in the top 5.
I can't. All right. Think about this. Like all you said, 5 AFC Championship games, 2 MVPs. He's going to win the MVP this year. 2 MVPs. If he wins this game, 2 Super Bowls, maybe 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 appearances. Okay. In a vacuum, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback I've ever seen. Take away stats, take away longevity, take away everything. If you look at purely how they play, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback I've ever seen. He's got all the physical tools. He's got the moxie. He's got the charisma. He throws it in the tight windows better than almost any quarterback I've ever seen. Right? And it's not like throughout these 5 years that he's been carried by like his defense or his run game.
He has done the carrying.
He has done the carrying.
All 5 years.
He has been the reason the Chiefs have been in where they've been. First year, he won the MVP, lost in the Patriots AFC Championship game. Second year, he won the Super Bowl, won Super Bowl MVP. Third year, he took his team to the Super Bowl and actually played all right in the Super Bowl.
He played out of his mind.
Yeah, his receivers, he was making throws that I've never seen. He's throwing it on dots to his receivers while falling down. It's just that his offensive line just collapsed.
Let him down. And if you watch that, like, I mean, if you watch the mic'd up and like the behind the scenes of that game, you see the Buccaneers team over there saying, wow, he is unreal. Like, I've never seen anybody like him.
I've never seen it. And then last year was his lowest moment of his career, which is saying a lot considering they lost to the Bengals by 3 points in overtime. And then this year he's carried the Chiefs again. Well, like he's proven last year was a fluke. So
I think that you could even say he's carried, like, this season has been the most carrying he's ever done, losing Tyreek Hill.
Offensively, yeah. I still think that this is one of the more complete Chiefs teams since Mahomes has been in the league. But offensively, yeah, you could say that. Travis Kelce is going to do Travis Kelce things. It helps out Mahomes a lot that he's got a guy like Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Mahomes has been the reason that they are where they are. I think the only thing, if he wins this game, he is for sure a top 5 quarterback of all time. Already. He's got as many rings as Peyton Manning. He's got more rings than Breeze, Favre, Marino, who are all, like, based on who you ask, considered just top 5 quarterbacks. He's got more rings than all of them. He's got 2 MVPs. That is more than Favre, Breeze, and Marino. Marino only won 1 MVP. And yeah, he's just.
Let's not forget that he is one of 3 players in NFL history to throw for 50 or more touchdowns.
Yeah, 50 or more touchdowns.
Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's if he wins this game, you could make an argument that he's the second best quarterback of all time. I don't think I would put him that high just because of
I am not making that argument.
That's valid. I mean, I think you can. If you take away just like how much, because like you're not, I'm telling you right now, I don't think Troy Aikman's better than him. I don't think Joe Montana's better than him. I don't think so. I watched them play. I've seen film.
So who do you think is the second best? I think we all consensusly agree Tom Brady's the best. But
I think Tom Brady's overrated, but his body of work is too great to ignore. I'd put him at number 1. I would put Peyton Manning at number 2.
Okay, that's fair.
And then,
I mean, you can say him or Joe Montana.
The only reason I would still have Peyton Manning above Mahomes is because of sample size. Like, Peyton Manning is the most valuable player in NFL history, and I don't really think it's close.
Well, Peyton Manning dominated the NFL for, 20 years? 15,
Almost,
20 years?
like 17 years.
Yeah,
5 MVPs.
I think the only argument that some of these all-time greats have on Patrick Mahomes is just the longevity of their career
the sample size
and dominating the NFL for a very long period of time, whereas Mahomes has only done it for 5, but he's only been in the league for 6 years. So
he's done everything you possibly can.
Yeah, and doing what he has done in the first 6 years of his NFL career already puts him in the top 5.
Yes.
So unless he just completely drops off a cliff, which is not going to happen, by the end of his career, he will probably be the second best quarterback to ever play football.
I think he could top Tom Brady.
I'm
being full on honest with you.
I'm not gonna give him that. But
if Patrick Mahomes gets 4 rings in his career, barring major injury and fall off, I would put him above Tom Brady in terms of how they've played the game of football. In terms of who I would rather want leading my team, I would put Patrick Mahomes. Just because I feel like I can rely on Patrick Mahomes to carry a team more so than Tom Brady.
I just don't know if I can do that because the man's won 7 Super Bowls. I mean, say what you want about him. He's won 7 Super Bowls, and he has been the greatest competitor to ever approach the game of football. And just the way he approached the game, his competitiveness, his film study, his mind, his work ethic, just the way that he approached the game is unlike anybody else in the NFL. I mean, say what you want about how he's had great offensive lines and great defenses, okay? Just that aroma of greatness that he puts off is just unlike any other. I mean, just witnessing him play the game of football is just like you are watching greatness right now.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes is not that. I'm just saying that Tom Brady just has that thing. You know what I'm saying, right? He just has that greatness about him that I've never seen outside of Jordan and LeBron.
Yeah, I feel like this debate, once Pat Mahomes gets towards the tail end of his career, if he continues to do what he's doing, I genuinely think this is going to be
LeBron Jordan part 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you have the guy who won seven championships, is known for having a winning mentality, and that's his best feature, is his ability to win you games. But then you have the guy like Patrick Mahomes, who's
a more complete player.
Who's a more complete player, is flashier, he has a lot of success, and he will continue to have a lot of success. But it's just going to be one of those things where, what do you value more? Do you value championships or do you value play? Because I feel like Mahomes is on the trajectory to when he hangs it up, the records that Tom Brady has, which are significant.
It's Mahomes, barring major injury, the NFL record book is going to be Patrick Mahomes' personal diary.
Exactly.
He's going to, barring if he plays for as long as Tom Brady does, he will shatter every single record, apart from maybe Super Bowls, which are a team stat, not an individual stat.
Yeah, so it's literally exactly like Jordan and LeBron.
It's gonna be that exact same debate. But also, I do think that one thing that you have for this argument that you don't have for Jordan and LeBron is that Tom Brady is 2-3, I think, against Mahomes head to head. Tom Brady beat Mahomes in the AFC Championship with the Patriots, and then he beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. So that's saying something too.
Yeah, they have the advantage of actually playing head to head.
Yeah, because LeBron and Jordan, they never
Well,
actually
they
played.
didn't play
But like these two guys, they have played head to head a handful of times, and Tom Brady has came out on top.
They're in the most important
in the most important of those times, Tom Brady has came out on top. Like Mahomes beat the Buccaneers in the regular season that same year when Tyreek Hill had like 250 receiving yards in the first half. Like the Chiefs
the
beat the
peace sign to
Buccaneers.
Antoine Winfield.
Yeah, but in the Super Bowl though, which is the biggest stage, that's what actually matters. Tom Brady beat him.
Yeah.
So I do think that is something to be said as well about that argument. But I also think that it is honestly just way too early to make that argument. Tom Brady has played 23 years. He has shown his greatness from year 1 to year 23. He's played in 10 Super Bowls. He's won 7 of them. He is unarguably the greatest quarterback to ever play the game of football. He's one of the best athletes to ever walk the earth, I think. And Patrick Mahomes has played 6 years, and he hasn't got there quite yet.
Tom Brady is not one of the best athletes to ever walk the earth.
How can you argue that?
It's not a coincidence that he was drafted in the 6th round. His 40 time is offensive line-esque.
I don't care. The guy has 7 Super Bowls.
It's a team stat. It's a team stat. I have one question for you, Weaver. Name one thing that Tom Brady is significantly better at than Patrick Mahomes in terms of actually playing football.
I don't know. He's probably more.
My point exactly.
I think he reads better. He can dice up the defense better than Mahomes.
That's not entirely a quarterback thing, though. You got coordinators chirping in your ear telling you what to do a lot of the time.
I just don't like. I mean, how can you argue Tom Brady is not one of the?
You're putting Tom Brady up there with LeBron James and Usain Bolt and Michael Phelps and Rafael Nadal and Serena Williams for females.
Michael Jordan.
Yes. Michael Jordan. Yes. No.
What accolade? I'm not talking about just straight athleticism. I'm talking about like he's like one of the best like sports players. Like
that's true, but that's not what you said. You said one of the best athletes of all time, and I can't, in good conscience, like give that.
Okay, not athletic talent, but like
he's one of the best players, like in his sport, and like he's one of the best players in the sport. But he's not.
He's one of the best players in sports of all time. I don't think
that I can get behind.
That's better put.
Yeah,
the man has won 7 Super Bowls, and Super Bowls are arguably the hardest championship to win.
Yeah, but Super Bowls football is the constant team sport, okay? There are so many things outside of a quarterback's control that factor into teams winning games in football. It's different in basketball when you talk about championships because basketball is such an individual-based sport that I think championships weigh because one single player can carry a team to a title. More so than in any other sport.
Yes, but I mean, the Patriots without Tom Brady do not win 6 Super Bowls. The Buccaneers without Tom Brady do not win that Super Bowl.
That's true.
Thank you.
That's 100% true. However, the Patriots without Tom Brady winning towards ACL went 11-5.
And we did
also
just get done saying how Patrick Mahomes single-handedly won the AFC Championship and put that team on his back.
Yes, one game, yes. But in terms of a full team going to the Super Bowl, I promise you that one player cannot carry a team to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
There are too many things outside of a quarterback's control in football.
Yes, but Tom Brady, I just don't know how you can argue that.
I said he's the GOAT quarterback.
Yeah.
I said he is. His body of work is too great to ignore. But everyone talks about like he's this destroyer of worlds, like God, and I just don't see that.
I understand why you disagreed about athlete, I guess.
No
because athleticism, no, absolutely not. But sports players, you can't argue that.
No, you can't. No, I agree with you on that. But I'm not putting him in the same categories like Usain Bolt and like Michael Jordan and all them. Michael Phelps.
I am. I don't see how you can't. But I mean, I guess that's a podcast for another time. The whole Tom Brady GOAT debate. But
Yeah. For me, I think as it stands today, I think if Mahomes does win this Super Bowl, I think he'll be number 3. I think it still goes Brady, Montana, then Mahomes. But I do agree with Nick. I think that Patrick Mahomes is the most talented quarterback on that list.
yeah,
But I think obviously he's only played in the NFL for 6 years, so I'm not going to go out and say that he's already like. I think he's closer to 2 than he is to 1.
yeah,
And I think he 100% has the ability to become number 1. Like I genuinely can see him winning 4 to 5 Super Bowls and being the main reason why
His team's won 4 or 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah, because he is like Nick said, he is the best quarterback that I have seen with my own eyes.
yeah. I would probably agree with that. Like talent wise, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that alone is something to be said. But and I also, like I mentioned briefly earlier, I think if Mahomes keeps playing how he is, I think that, like, let's just say he plays till he's 38, 39.
Mm-hmm.
I think because Brady has majority of the quarterback records, right? That are
Pretty much. I think he has like everyone.
I think like Mahomes, I think he'll go over the passing yards. I think he'll go over the passing touchdowns. I think he'll go over maybe not interceptions, but I think that Mahomes as a talent is one of the best talents at quarterback that we have seen. I think he completely has transcended the way teams play football. He can scramble and improvise like nobody else. He has the arm strength to throw it 80 yards off his back foot. And he's winning games without, like, I get before you're like, oh, he's got Tyreek Hill, the fastest receiver probably ever.
Still see a top 5 tight end in history.
Well, so you take Travis, so you take Tyreek Hill out, and he has a better season than he had the past 2 years with Tyreek, and obviously he still has Kelsey, which is top 1, top 2 tight end depending who you talk to, and I feel like up against Brady, I feel like he has Mahomes has had nowhere near the defenses that Brady's had.
Oh, it's not even comparable.
Yeah, but I feel like Mahomes has had better weapons than Brady has had in his career. Brady did a lot of his damage with guys who you wouldn't say were like top tier receivers, other than Randy Moss for the amount of time that he played. But that was towards the end of Randy Moss's career. But I think, and I mean, both of them have shown that you put the ball in their hands, and at the end of a game, and they're going to produce. They're going to be the reason why you win the game. Like Mahomes scored in 18 seconds. Tom Brady has had numerous game-winning drives in big moments. Mahomes has had the same, and I think Mahomes will. I think he'll probably be sitting at 2 for a while.
Yeah.
I think if he keeps going at the trajectory that he is going right now, I think there's a real conversation to be had once he hangs it up, or almost does.
Yeah.
That he could be, in people's eyes, the best player ever. And I think it's very similar to like the Jordan and LeBron, like basically the same. But like you said, Zach, a thing that is going to be a big story is they actually did play head to head 5 times. And yes, Mahomes has the overall series advantage, but Brady won in the 2 games that mattered the most.
Yeah.
And so I think that has stuff to say. But I think Montana, his time at 2 is running short. I think Mahomes is coming for, like I said, I think he's at number 3. And I just feel like Mahomes is one of like we said earlier, he's one of the best quarterbacks that we've ever seen, and I think you have to kind of. That's one of those things where, like with Brady, like now that he's retired, that you look back on his greatness, and some people took it for granted. Some people like hated Brady because of him winning. Like I feel like with Mahomes, you just got to bask in the greatness that he is and how outstanding of a player he is.
Yeah, that's why I'm just like, I'm so sad to see Tom Brady go, because like, I mean, like we were witnessing like greatness. Like I will stand by what I said when I say I've never like that is greatness that I've only seen with like Brady and like Jordan and LeBron.
Mhm.
Like I think like that. I mean Tom Brady's 23-year career was unrivaled, unmatched. That is greatness.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
It's kind of sad to see him go, but that
But I think it was time. I think it was time.
Yeah, it was he didn't have anything left in the tank
Like,
this year, showed.
This past year, like you could have argued that he didn't need to retire because he had one of his best seasons. But this year, with all the off the field drama, with how this team performed, how he performed, I think he kind of realized the writing on the wall. Like I can't play this game forever. So I think he went out on a fine note. I mean, he has nothing to prove to anybody.
Yeah.
So I feel like Nick said, I don't think he had much left in the tank, and I think he realized that. And I think it's time for the new era of football. I think Rodgers is on his way out.
Yep.
I think this new era of Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert, Lamar, Hurts. I think Josh Allen. Yeah, I think this new era is coming strong, and I think it's going to be one of the best eras that we've seen.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is the last of that era, and he's going to be out pretty soon here. Yeah. So the new era of Mahomes.
It's well and truly arrived.
Yeah, the new era is definitely here, like with Mahomes and Burrow, and like that's like Mahomes and Burrow is, I think, going to end up being the next generation's Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
I agree.
Yeah, so, I think I see a lot. I don't think Joe Burrow is going to be as good as Peyton Manning. Like you all heard earlier, I have Peyton Manning as a top 2 quarterback ever. I don't think that's going to last for too much longer, like you alluded to. Like I think Mahomes, when it's all said and done, is going to blow Manning's career out of the water, as much as it pains me to say that. But yeah, like in terms of a rivalry that whenever they play each other, you circle that game on the calendar. It could be Mahomes, Burrow. It's looking like that right now, but who knows what Josh Allen's going to do? Who knows what Justin Herbert's going to do when he actually gets a competent head coach? We don't know yet, but I think it's very clear that Mahomes is far and away the leading horse, if you will, of this new cavalry of quarterbacks that has come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Oh man.
Because, I mean, some people were saying, like, if Burrow ended up winning the AFC Championship game, that some people are going to have the conversation.
Is Burrow the best quarterback in the NFL? No, absolutely not.
I always said that I mean, even though I'm a Bengals fan, like, I still think Patrick Mahomes is better. But
I think Mahomes is better, but, like, Burrow is he has, like, solidified himself as number 2, though.
I would put him at 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that let me clarify this. From Mahomes to Burrow, there's a significant drop off. Significant. I don't think it's close.
I would disagree with that.
I don't think it's I just don't think it's close. I think that there's a bigger gap from 1 to 2 than there is from 2 to 5. And because my top 5 would be Mahomes 1, and then Burrow 2, Hurts 3, Allen 4, Herbert 5.
Yeah.
If I had to go with a top 5 right now, I think that there's a bigger gap between Mahomes and Burrow than there is from Burrow and Herbert. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but I think
I would personally disagree.
I
But
don't know if it's like a significant gap, but
it's definitely not
there's
significant.
definitely a gap in there, and I agree with you. I think the gap between Burrow to Mahomes is bigger than like Burrow to whoever your fifth was, Herbert or whoever.
Yeah, I don't know if I completely agree with that. I think people hate on Joe Burrow and the Bengals a lot more than they should. But I mean, I do agree that Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, like for sure. But I would not say it is a large gap at all.
I don't. I think that's another podcast for another day, but I just don't.
I mean, let's just think about this real quick.
Uh-huh.
So Patrick Mahomes, and I'm not talking about stats right now. I'm just talking about win. I'm talking about winning. Okay. Patrick Mahomes, in 5 years, he has been to the AFC Championship 5 times, the Super Bowl 3 times. Okay.
Right.
And Mahomes,
2 MVPs too.
Yeah. So Mahomes' first 3 years of the NFL, year 1, backup, year 2, AFC Championship, lost, MVP, year 3, AFC Championship, Super Bowl. Joe Burrow's first 3 years in the NFL, injury, second year, AFC Championship, Super Bowl, they lost, but Super Bowl, third year, AFC Championship. So they're pretty dang similar. The only difference there is that Mahomes won his first Super Bowl and Burrow lost his first Super Bowl. And the
MVP. The MVP is a big caveat.
But it's really pretty similar, honestly, if you think about it. The first 3 years of both of their careers have been pretty dang similar. Joe Burrow has been to the AFC Championship both years. He's played a full season and the Super Bowl once. I don't think you can overlook that.
No, yeah, their first 3 years have been fairly similar, but I do think Mahomes has 2 Super Bowls. Sorry, he has 2 MVPs, and he had a 50 touchdown season, and Burrow has not yet reached that.
Burrow hasn't.
I do believe Burrow will get an MVP at some point. I don't know, and I mean, with the weapons he has, I would not be shocked if he reaches high 40s in touchdowns. But as it stands right now, I guess playoff wise, they're the same, but I think Mahomes still has done more in those 3 years than Burrow has.
My big thing is that Mahomes has been the reason for the Chiefs' success. I wouldn't say Burrow has not been the reason, but Burrow has had significantly more help. Much better receiving core, better running back. You could say a better defense for his first 3 years. I don't know about this year, but the past 2 years, absolutely, you could. My thing is, the Bengals have 1 fourth quarter touchdown in 7 playoff games with Joe Burrow under center. 1. That was last week against Kansas City when after Joe Burrow threw a YOLO ball to Jamar Chase into double coverage on 4th and 8.
Which was one of the best catches I have seen.
I was like, there's no way that just happened. He threw a YOLO ball in the double coverage to Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase came down with it.
Yep.
Right? But the fact of the matter is that the Bengals offense in the 4th quarter, their offense, has just not gotten it done on a consistent level. It's been the reason they lost to Kansas City. It's been the reason they lost in the Super Bowl. And you can say it might be true that if the Bengals had an average offensive line, that they win the Super Bowl and they probably beat Kansas City if their offensive line was even average, not even.
I think
great.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah, you could make a very good argument. I'd probably agree with that. But the fact of the matter is, in crunch time, their offense didn't get it done, and that's, I wouldn't say entirely on Joe Burrow, but a big part of that goes on Joe Burrow. And
but also like
because he's super young.
We just got done arguing and you saying that football is a team sport and there's a lot outside of the quarterback's control, but now you're arguing a lot of it's on Joe Burrow.
I just said that winning Super Bowls is a lot of the quarterback's blame, but there is stuff out of his control. Sacks are partially a quarterback stat, and Joe Burrow's been taking way too many of them. He did improve on that significantly this season, but it's not like the Bengals haven't had opportunities. It's not like the Chiefs' offense went supernova and scored 42 points, and the Bengals lost 42-38. The Bengals offense scored 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think people hate on Burrow and the Bengals. They don't give him enough credit. I think Mahomes is better, yes, but I don't think it's a significant gap between him and Burrow, because if we compare those first 3 years, no one else, like literally no one else in the NFL has done anything close to what Mahomes and Burrow have done in their first 3 years. Not even close.
Yeah. I feel like just like after that Chiefs game, I mean, obviously Burrow like had the ball in his hands, and that's something that he needs to get points at that point. And I believe that wasn't, obviously he's played with a bad O-line and both of his playoff runs, but I do feel like and like I said earlier, I think credit to Steve Spagnuolo. I think he put in an amazing game plan and really took away what the Bengals did well and really shut them down. And that kind of just showed that sometimes it's like not your day. And the Chiefs had a little bit more fire, but I still feel like Burrow is gonna be just fine. Like I feel like it's kind of like with Kobe, to a sense, like, and early in his career he played big games and he airballed shots and turned the ball over and stuff, but that helped him grow into the player he's going to be. And so I feel like Burrow losing in the Super Bowl fueled him for this year, played really well this year, just fell short. And I think he's going to look back at that fourth quarter, 2 minute drive and be like, we had a shot and I couldn't do it. And I think that's going to fuel him for next year. But
yeah, definitely will.
I do think that I think it's Mahomes, then Burrow, and then it goes down, and it's like Allen, Hurts, Herbert, all in like one area. But I think that Burrow is closer to those three than he is to Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I don't really disagree with that. I think the gap between Burrow and Mahomes is not significant. I think it's like Mahomes, and then you have Burrow, and then it's kind of like, like there's another gap between everybody else. But I don't think it's a significant gap between Mahomes and Burrow, because between what the two of them have done in their first 3 years is just not even close to what anybody else has done. And like anybody else that you put in the top 5 and in the top 10 of the NFL today has not come anywhere close to what Mahomes and Burrow have done in their first 3 years of their career. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I will say this though, like after the season last year, you all know this. I was like, are the Bengals really gonna be back here? Like, are they really gonna get this lucky, be this good again?
Yeah, you were like everybody else.
Yeah, I was like, are they really gonna be back? I am 100% confident that the Bengals will be back in this position for at least the next 7-8 years. As long as they have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, I think they're gonna be just fine.
Yep.
Agree.
For sure. And Joe Burrow will get an MVP at some point. Joe Burrow's like accolades and stuff, like probably won't end up being as good as Patrick Mahomes, but like he's there though. He's there. He's gonna get his MVP, he's gonna get his Super Bowl, and I don't think it's a humongous gap.
Yeah. Nick, I talked to Zach about this, but I want to see what you think about this. So obviously a lot of people who watch Joe Burrow say that he's the closest thing to like Tom Brady that they've seen. And I feel like his career could either go to where he has this sustained success and ends up winning multiple championships. But I also think you have to look at it, and I feel like he could be like an Aaron Rodgers, where he is the top tier quarterback.
Or a Peyton Manning too. That was what I said.
Yeah. But so he's a top tier guy, makes the NFC Championship almost every year, but only has one Super Bowl to his name, but has multiple MVPs and is one of the best quarterbacks of that time period, but he only got over the hump one time. What do you think about that?
If I had to compare Joe Burrow and like the start of his career to any quarterback, it would be Andrew Luck. I think he's better than Andrew Luck was. I think he's going to be better than Andrew Luck was, as much as it pains me to say that because I grew up watching Andrew Luck. But in terms of he plays better than his stats, and his stats are good. And he doesn't have an offensive line, yet he's carrying that factor to conference championship games. And he's already made a Super Bowl, which Andrew Luck never did, which is not entirely his fault, but still. I think he's going to end up in his career in terms of like right between where Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning were. Like I think he's going to have better stats and a better overall career than Andrew Luck did. I
hope.
Yeah, you would hope. Ideally, barring more long-term injuries, which I don't think that's going to happen, considering that the Bengals have very clearly addressed that the O-line is an issue. But like, I don't think that I think he'll be better than Andrew Luck, right? I don't think that he's going to be better than Andrew Luck in terms of career accolades. I don't think he's going to be better than Peyton Manning because Peyton Manning won 5 MVPs, went to 4 Super Bowls, won 2 of them, has a Super Bowl MVP. I don't think he's going to quite get to that like height, right? Which would put him around what Aaron Rodgers has done minus the MVPs. But like I don't know. I'm going to have to see how his career plays out. Because, like, Aaron Rodgers, the only reason Aaron Rodgers doesn't have more than 1 ring is because his defense has sold him at the worst possible time, almost every single time. I think his only playoff loss that you can put on him was the game against San Francisco last year. Like, that's been it. And I don't think Joe Burrow is going to be that unfortunate. I think he's shown that the Bengals front office can get pieces around him to at least be competent, especially on the defensive end. But yeah, I think he'll finish his career right between where Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning's career ended, if I had to take a guess right now.
Yeah, I certainly don't like hearing Andrew Luck in that argument at all. But I agree with you, Evan. I could either see him being an Aaron Rodgers or a Tom Brady. I could see him, catch fire, win 1 or 2 MVPs and pull off a couple of Super Bowls. Or I could see him being like the second best quarterback in the NFL for his entire career, winning an MVP, always being a top-tier team, going to the AFC Championship pretty much every year, but then always falling short, and then finally getting over the hump and winning the Super Bowl once. I could definitely see it going either of those 2 ways. I'm hoping that it's the way of Brady, but I don't know. I don't want to say he's gonna be like Rodgers, where he's a top tier every year but only wins 1 Super Bowl. Like, I don't want to say that's gonna happen, but I mean, I don't know,
Yeah, we'll see. That was just a comparison that came in that I thought about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really early to really tell.
Yeah. I mean, because right now it's so early and we're kind of just in the middle. Like, Burrow's like kind of at like a crossroads right now where it's like, okay, like he is great, but he could take either of these 2 ways. He could go the way of Rodgers and only win 1 Super Bowl but perform at a high level consistently, or he could go the way of Brady and perform at a high level consistently and pull off a couple of Super Bowls. It's like you don't know which way he's going to go. He could very well go either way.
Yeah. One thing that's encouraging is there's actually just a report made like an hour ago roughly, and it was a media member was talking to T. Higgins, and he was like, "How long do you will this team stay together?" And he said, "Hopefully for a long time. I plan on being in Cincinnati for a while."
Yeah,
just good.
There was all those rumors of him getting traded, and I'm just kind of like, I'm not sure why they would do that.
It depends on if he wants like top receiver in the NFL money or
not. If he wants like top 5 money, then you might have to trade him.
You might not have a choice.
Yeah, because
You
Jamar
got to
Chase,
pay Jamar Chase too.
yeah, Jamar Chase is probably the second or third best receiver in the NFL, so he's going to get that top tier money. But T. Higgins, definitely would be a wide receiver one on any other team in the NFL, but like the Bengals just can't really afford to give him top 5 money, you know?
Yeah. The reason why I brought up the Andrew Luck comparison is because in the first 35 games of Andrew Luck's career, he got sacked 80 times, right?
Yeah.
This is before this season started. In the first 30 games of Burrow's career, he was sacked 102 times going into this season. That is the main reason I brought up that comparison. Because,
the sacks make sense.
They both have a similar style of play. They're both better than their stats, and their stats were good, right? It's just that Joe Burrow's had more support defensively than Andrew Luck had, and even on his receivers, right?
Yeah, but
I brought that up in terms of
offensive line support.
Yeah, in terms of like the support on the offensive line, it's Burrow's actually had worse support than Andrew Luck had,
really,
which is very alarming.
Scary.
Yes.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm so that's why I've always been such a big advocate on let's fix this offensive line, because
you can't have him turn into the next Andrew Luck.
No, absolutely not. Like Joe Burrow has the talent to finish his career as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL of all time, and we they can't waste that, you know. He
can definitely win them multiple Super Bowls.
Yeah,
in his career, he's proven that he can.
Yeah, so they can't waste that. They gotta fix the O-line and get him.
He is already the best quarterback in Bengals history, if we're being honest with ourselves.
By far.
Which speaks about how horrible the Bengals have been for their entire
The Bengals have a very bad history.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I know you said you didn't like the comparison. That's why I brought it up though. In terms of the lack of offensive line support.
Yeah, the offensive line support and the sack comparison I 100% agree with, which is very frightening. But
yeah, I pray that
I do think that the Bengals are okay though, because they address the offensive line. It's just they all got hurt at the wrong time. That's why their O-line was terrible against Kansas City.
I would even argue that
need to work on the left side of the line a little bit, but I don't think it's as much as a priority as it was last offseason.
No.
Yeah, I would argue that offensive line is definitely still their top priority this offseason. And I do think that the offensive line was vastly improved from last year, yes, but the numbers don't lie, and Joe Burrow was still sacked 41 times, which is egregiously bad.
That's still a lot. How many of that was in the first half of the year, though?
Majority.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Yeah, I figured.
It was half.
Yeah, there
got
was
sacked
a lot.
13 times in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
So
so I mean that's really bad, but I mean for me personally, I still just don't think it where it needs to be. I think they still need to have some retooling done on the offensive line.
Yeah. It's not I would still argue that it is their top priority, but I don't know if it's a major red flag. We have to get this completely solved now, like it was this time last offseason.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. It's not a major red flag, but it is still undoubtedly their top priority and something that they need to approach this offseason saying, we need to fix this, you know?
Yeah. All right, Nick, we'll wrap it up so you can head on to work.
I gotta leave here in 15.
Unfortunately. Darn.
Yep. But I'm excited for Sunday to see how the Super Bowl goes. It's been a fun season overall. It's been a good year, and it's gone by really fast. So
this year's flown by. It's been ridiculous.
I remember yesterday I was watching Bills Rams after getting home from B-Dubs in September, and now we're about to go 8 months or however long it is without.
We have to wait until
NFL football.
September until football again. That is just. Oh.
Hey, listen, if what the NBA's doing keeps happening, I promise you, I will be A-okay until September.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I that's why I don't sweat it too much, because for me, I'm a huge football guy. So football ends in February, and to me, the NBA starts getting interesting
right around
in
All-Star
February.
break. Yeah.
So for me now, I'm just gonna hop onto the NBA and start watching the NBA actually get interesting and like have implications into the playoffs and the finals.
Oh,
now.
it's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna
Yeah.
this NBA. That's enough. We're gonna talk about this another day, but the NBA, the rest of this NBA season is gonna be so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be wild. The Suns, like, I don't know how they can't be West favorites now.
Different.
I mean
different
that
podcast for a
is
different day, but
wild.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I'm gonna I don't know when this one's going up, but I am gonna be doing a trade deadline podcast here within the next as we're recording this within the next day. So
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely gonna I feel like this year we definitely hit really hard on football. And so now that that's obviously gonna be over, we're gonna be shifting more to basketball, like NBA type stuff. But also once free agency rolls around and draft season,
that'll be a whole nother podcast or a few podcasts.
Yeah, we'll obviously get back into the swing of things with the NFL. But
big good series.
Yeah, so
free agency and draft.
But yeah, that's all we got for today. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please like this video, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good rest of your day, and peace. Good stuff.
That was pretty good podcast.
That was pretty good podcast. It would have been a lot longer had I not have to work in 30 minutes, but
yeah.